Hey everyone, it's Mike. We're going to keep going on the Onboarding Breakdown Series. We're going to look at Typeform, which I actually haven't used before, at least on the back end of it, creating it. They've been doing some interesting things for a while. Their AI forms are looking pretty cool in terms of being able to interact and gather information as you go. And I haven't, this is going to be a blind one for me because I haven't signed up. So we're just going to jump in. I'm going to go to sign up out of the gate. I'm going to sign up with Google. Well, yeah, we can sign up with Google because it's faster maybe. See if it makes me verify. Get my face out of the way. Let me in. I like that CTA. Sure. Sure. No. Great. Let me in. See what this says. Okay, I do like that more SaaS products are using keyboard shortcuts instead of having to click through the entire thing. It feels like less work overall. Oh, hey, even typing the letter worked. I like that. That's actually pretty neat. That's maybe why they're called Typeform. So these are those questions. I'm assuming they will do something with this information, or they just use it on their back end so they understand their audience a little bit better, but we'll see what kind of content they present me with once they get in. So generate leads, get feedback, manage events. Let's go with engage, nurture, or educate my audience. Let's try a quiz. I don't usually write quizzes, but too many options here, in my opinion. Okay, I hit I to choose that one. It didn't move on, and then I hit enter. Well, I think the options changed on me. So if I hit I for other, it does make me give it an answer, and then I can hit OK. Okay, that's a little weird, but I guess it makes sense. Let's create with AI. That's always fun. So this is where, okay, I said I want to create a quiz. Something up. For how long? I'm going to say now what I'm doing here, I know it's quiet for a second, is writing information that I want versus questions. I'm not sure if they actually wanted me to write the questions. It says I want to ask my audience about these things, and then this one says are there specific questions. So we'll see if that prompt ends up breaking it. See what it comes up with. So let's see how good the content is. My gut instinct is that's maybe not enough information to give me something useful, especially if I have kind of an abstract idea. Okay, they're giving me an option to take a tour, but I don't know if they also generated the quiz. So this is kind of a tough moment for me to say like, oh yeah, I'll take a tour, but also you just gave me content that I want to see. So why can't I just focus on that for right now, which I can. For the sake of this video, let's see what highlights they give us. I don't think that's probably the right time to introduce it. Are they giving? Okay, let's see, what is this one? Add questions and content. Okay, so they're giving me a tour with the context of this thing that they generated for me. And they will let me do it instead of blocking me from doing it. So that's kind of cool. I'm noticing these other buttons pop up, or these other signals, which is kind of neat. Let's see if I have any kind of interesting... Yeah, I do. I have these Batman ones we can use. Ooh, what about readability though? Shoot. I can turn it down. Whoa, marking me really bright. That helps. Accessibility would be a concern for me. And then if I uploaded it, they should probably just close this out. It's kind of a weird thing to leave there. So this is background, layout, and add media. So I could make it dark. And I don't see a button. I also don't see white as an option, which is interesting. It'd be nice if they suggested colors that would work based on the background I put in here. That's kind of an, I won't say it's an easy thing to do, but it's a relatively easy thing to do. Because now I'm worried that these white ones are going to be hard to read. Okay, and this is logic. Yes, update this thing. Save without a logo. Okay. So here's where the form is going to get interesting. Optimize your Typeform with data. Only ask relevant questions and split your Typeform based on the flows. Okay. So how long can you focus on a task? Are you easily distracted? When do you feel the most focused during the day? So can I switch? Oh, okay. So you can't swap them. You can't swap the order without deleting some of the connections. And like in whiteboarding software, you can usually click on these connectors and delete them or edit them. So you have to have other questions you want it to go to. And then it seems like scrolling, okay, yeah, scrolling up and down actually with two fingers zooms out, which is cool. And then you can click and drag to see the rest of it. So they generated a good amount of information on here, and I'm guessing the icons are what type of answer they want. So checks are multi-select, this graph is showing you a scale, these are typed out, and that's fine. So if I wanted to break it to a different direction, let's see, could I split this? Like, what if I wanted it to jump to this one if the score was, okay, is equal to, okay, so the condition is if it's 0, skip to the next one right now. So I could say if it's lower or equal to 3, so they score that one, they say it's not important or something, I can skip to the end. And then I can say if it's greater than or equal to 3, move them to the next one. Wait, nope, that's a condition for the same one. Okay. So then how do I remove, I can trash it. Okay, trash can should maybe be underneath if we're stacking, just because if you have it on top, it makes you think it's the next one up, and this one can't have a trash can because you always have to have one. So that's a minor UI thing I would think about. Okay, this side scrolling thing is getting a little weird now. Probably because we have this logic window open. Yeah, okay. Branching calculations. Calculate prices as you go. That's interesting. Quizzes and scoring is interesting. Automatically assign points to different questions. That's not what kind of quiz this is, but this is pretty cool. So if I had known what I was doing, this would be pretty awesome. I could have had AI generate a interactive quiz, something that I could send out like a newsletter. I could tie scoring to it. If I want it to be like a pretty meaningful piece of content, I could add some more dynamic routes to it, which is pretty neat. Figuring this out without the context of the product is not easy. So having a free plan and having users kind of find this and jump into it might leave them a little confused. I don't think it's hard to figure out if you know generally what the product does, but there's a lot of unique things about it. Like I didn't know that, despite the name, that typing instead of clicking on everything was going to apply to how you build the form too, or answering the onboarding questions. So we have more design stuff, and then themes you can save to build other ones, and your logic. So your questions, your design, your logic, you can navigate through this right sidebar. That's fine. And the left sidebar is to reorganize content. Yeah, okay. So that's kind of like SlideShare or Google Slides or anything like that when you're creating. And that certainly makes sense for this format. This right-hand sidebar is kind of like WordPress. It's a lot of layers to it, but I guess that I would say that generally makes sense, and I'm looking at it, and Connect takes you to integrations, which is fine. Takes you totally away from what you're working on. They didn't really explain this. Share and then results. So that's, I guess, pretty self-explanatory. They didn't show us where these were, but I suppose once it was published and ready to go, it would probably be more important. So let's say I publish it. Okay, so I do like when shareable products do this immediately. So it's published, it's live. Okay, now it's time to share it. You have your social links down here. You can get a QR code directly to it. You can adjust your link settings, maybe for UTM tagging or something like that. Yep, so integrated UTM tagging to customize your link. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that share thing out again. Just go to the share page. Okay, so when I click that, it refreshed the whole page, which was weird. Instead of giving me the modal that happens on publish, they give me this layout up here. I personally don't like this layout. The customized link feels really far away from the copy link. The social icons are really small for me. I don't know if anybody else feels that way. At least they're taking you to share right away. The integrations are fast. They connect much quicker than most that I would expect. The sharing is usually pretty slow. Email link is interesting. I don't really know. Just send it. Okay. Interesting. QR code. Okay. So that's how it looks. You can preview desktop and mobile. I guess I probably hid that by having my browser lower. I mean, I would say overall this onboarding was pretty straightforward. They do give you a free plan at the gate, so they're not requiring you to put payment or information or anything like that. They're showing me functionality that I'm trying to access that isn't available, and they're not doing it in an overly aggressive way, which I appreciate. And then they didn't try to introduce me to the dashboard or the entire product initially. They let me finish doing what I was doing and kind of explore, which I really appreciate. And they still have these signals that I haven't discovered yet, so got it. Yeah, pretty straightforward dashboard. Responses collected. So this is kind of lower on my screen, but let's just say it's pretty straightforward. And then you have a brand kit, which I like. Canva has been doing this, and it saves businesses a lot of time to just have colors, fonts, and everything configured, so when they're generating something new, it looks the way it should from the get-go, and the product can make smarter decisions about that. There's some weird navigation, so I clicked on that, and then it loaded a weird page, so I clicked back, and it took me back to the editor for this quiz instead of just back to this dashboard. So yeah, I mean, straightforward product overall. I didn't go through the entire, like, every single different kind of form that you can generate or anything like that, but maybe a B if we're talking letter grades. I didn't get lost as often as I do in other product onboarding, but there's a few things that felt awkward or disconnected or easy to kind of veer off the path that makes sense, or easy to kind of do something accidental while you're creating something, which could be frustrating. I didn't really evaluate the questions in here heavily because I didn't really put a lot of time into the prompt that I gave it. So we can look at, maybe I'll do a series at some point about how well AI integrations within products work within the context of the product. Like, if the goal is to create a quiz or a form, how good is AI at doing that here if I have a specific purpose in mind? If I'm looking at something like Coda, can it solve problems with tables and things like that? So I'll do that separately from onboarding, but overall, I would say they're in the B range for onboarding. I don't think it was hard to understand or navigate around. They don't interrupt you very often, and they're using consistent patterns and things to help find, hey, look at that. Maybe I'll give them a B+ now. That's pretty low on the page, but it is an accessibility check. So it'll tell me contrast issues, questions don't have an eye. Yeah, so this is actually great. That's a fantastic discovery. So kudos to the Typeform team for putting that in there. I will say, this is a hard thing to design. When there's different sections of the product and there's different tools that do different things, and if you put everything together, it's hard to figure out how to find the thing you want. If you spread everything out too much, it's easy to miss things like this close the sidebar button or check accessibility, especially when this preview is so tall. Yeah, it's pretty consistently small and out of view whenever you're scaling up and down on some of that stuff. So making some of these things a little bit easier to find or grouping them in ways that make more sense would probably help in terms of actually like getting adoption and regular usage on those. But I like being able to control the focus and how many tools are in view at any point in time. And I like how much power they give you, really, like on my face. So letters on the answers so that people who are going through can type. That's a setting you can turn on or off. Auto-save progress is something you can turn on or off, which is interesting. UTM tracking and all this stuff. So it's a pretty comprehensive product that doesn't feel as complicated. Like, it doesn't feel like it has as many options as it does, and you wouldn't think that it can do as much as it probably can. So I'm guessing I'll get some interesting email content and something presented about how many other things I can do with Typeform besides just create a quiz. But yeah, overall I think they did a good job.